thought we did a really good job just getting out of the gates fast, on both sides of the ball. I think we knew we wanted the ball. We wanted to start the game, on offense, and for them to go right down the field and score with a big play to Andrew Jamil for a touchdown was a great way to start the season. I think to return it then and go 3 and out on defense and hold them and make them punt and again to go right down the field and score, and before you know it, we're up 17-0. And obviously when you can get out of the gates on a good opponent on their field that fast and kind of put them in a hole early, that's the ideal start that you dream for. I think the story in the second half for us is our ability to run the football. Matt did a great job all day of spreading the football around and incorporating Jamil, but also hitting Kevin Dick for a touchdown late to kind of seal it. Early on, a bubble to sophomore Zach Punjatori, who breaks 3 tackles and tight ropes the sideline for a touchdown. For him to be able to spread the ball around, and then in the second half, with the success we had running the ball with Brian Kearns, and really allowing us to move the chains, control the clock. I think we played a little softer defensively in the second half, and we gave up some passing yards that maybe if we're being a little bit more aggressive, we don't give up. The block punt was huge in the second half, to make a big play like that on special teams and give our offense a short field, and then boom, they score another touchdown. So I think we're very pleased with a lot of the things that we did in all 3 phases, but we definitely have a lot of room for improvement, a lot of corrections that we had to make, and I think that we did a good job of identifying those, and our guys are hungry. They're not going to be complacent just because of what we did last week, which is comforting. The most comforting thing that I think we have in that is how battle-tested he is. He's essentially a 4-year starter playing 3 games his freshman year, and knowing that he's been in every situation and he's been successful in a lot of those situations already. So he there's a comfort level with him, with our guys, and with our coaching staff with him being in those moments and knowing that he's going to make the right decision. And even if he doesn't, knowing that it's not going to affect him the next play. And he's done a terrific job, not only performance-wise on the field throughout this year, camp, and then the first week of the season, but also from a leadership standpoint. There is no doubt that he is the voice. He's the guy that everybody looks to. So I think it's pretty comforting having him in that position with the experience that he has in that role. Matt's been a great weapon for us, and not just in scoring points like you said, but his ability to help us win the field position battle. He probably could have had one more touchback in that game on kickoff, and he wasn't exactly kicking with the wind either. We came out of at halftime, and they had over-adjusted a little bit for our kickoff scheme, so he kind of stuck one down there inside the 20, and our coverage team was able to get down there and cover him up. But he's done a great job just of owning that phase of the game for us. And when you have a guy that's as talented as he is, but also takes the ownership of it, especially as such an early stage in his career, being a sophomore and having done it as a freshman. He's been in a couple different situations now going into year 2 that we feel confident in him to be able to deliver in whatever we ask him to do. And I think a good tell for a player like that is, in the fourth quarter, we attempt a deeper field goal and they get a roughing the kicker call. And it was a pretty gruesome hit that he took. And he was off on the sideline, got taped up. We scored a touchdown, fortunately, and he rolled right back out there to kick the extra point. And that's just the type of guy he is. And I think if he didn't already, he earned a lot of respect from his teammates in that moment right there, week 1, being able to come back out there and wanting to compete and wanting to deliver for his team. Coach Kodak's done a great job there just in terms of recruiting, bringing in talented football players, and being innovative in their schemes. They have a lot of athletes on the field, and they're going to challenge you in a lot of different ways. They're going to challenge you on defense in terms of playing tight coverage and making you, make plays and beat them. They're not going to shoot themselves in the foot. And then offensively, they've got a lot of different weapons, and they'll spread the ball around. A very talented, experienced quarterback. So it's been a tough matchup every year for it. It's been a very close matchup the last several years. In the history of Stonehill football, we've only beaten them twice. And I think that more speaks to the level of program that they've been, over a long period of time, and we're definitely looking to right those scales in our favor here over the next couple. We're blessed to be able to get some new uniforms and some new threads for the guys. I think it helps with recruiting and all that stuff, but it's part of who we are and what our identity has to be, and we kind of wanted to mix it up a little bit, but still kind of stay traditional to who we are as a department and as a program over the past 30 years of Stonehill College football. So we're excited to open up at home. We've been talking a lot about this week about building a home field advantage and how you do that. And the number one way that you build that is by winning at home. It doesn't matter about the fans or anything like that. I mean, all that stuff helps. But unless you put a winning product on the field, that's how you create the home field advantage. So, we want to defend our stadium and take some pride into playing people here, under lights at WB. We hit the first hurdle. We got past the trip to Bloomsburg, which we're very happy that we made it through that weekend. But I mean, from a program's perspective, I mean, it's just been a lot working ahead, in terms of making sure that the whole week is planned out, not the whole, the next day. And I think, a big emphasis for me in camp and knowing that this day was going to be approaching was making sure, and we do this every year, but definitely notice on it this year, making sure that what we do as a team is not coach-led. It's player run. At the end of the day, we aren't the ones that are between the lines out there on Saturday night. So whether I'm there or not, the same level of execution and intensity, needs to be there, whether it's a practice or a game day. And I have a lot of confidence in our coaching staff. I've been with a couple of them now for 6-7 years, that we're not going to skip a beat whether I'm there or not, for a practice or even if it's a game situation. As much as I may want to be there. But yeah, I mean, obviously, Coach Moody, being on the sideline this year and working with him for the past 7 years, I feel pretty confident that he's going to be able to step into that role, should that event occur, at that time. And then Coach Goodwin, who's been coaching with me now for 5 years, he would take over play calling duties with the defense. And we've repped a little of that. I've kind of. I might be the boy that cried wolf a little bit with Coach Goodwin. I've told him 3 times during camp that my wife was going to labor and that he had to call the defense during practice. And I've kind of just removed myself a little bit and been a fly on the wall. So we've tried to rep those situations just so not only the players but the coaches are prepared for it as well. And we're definitely good to go. I learned a lot about myself and I've learned a lot about our team, in this past several weeks, just because I've taken opportunities to kind of step away and be on the outside looking in a little bit, and it's I'm very happy to see who we are when you're not in it. I think the most comforting thing is to know that our guys are going to bring it every day regardless of the situation that they're in, whether it's a situation pertaining to me or an outside element that they can't control. So I think from a coach, I've learned a lot about us as a staff and how much more trust I know I can put on the rest of our staff, and also in our players, and the culture that we have here is one that's going to hold itself up. It doesn't need to be run by one figurehead. It's and I think that speaks more so to our leadership. The guys that we have. And it's not just senior leadership or captain leadership, but the guys that in the moment take it and run with it and make it their own. Because I think it has to be a lot more than just me or the coaches. It's got to come from the players.